looking in that part now.
Welcome to On the Same Page. This is Bryna Butler, and I'm co-hosting today with the wonderful Casey Bond. We're going to be talking about some fantasy fiction books that are new on the market, books that we love, right,
Yes,
Casey?
Absolutely.
First off, we have The Cruel Prince. Now, this one has been out for a little while, but the sequel, The Wicked King, just recently come out, and it is getting so much buzz, Casey, right?
There's a reason. And there's a reason that Holly Black is a #1 New York Times bestselling author. Her stories just get better and better. I've read several of her books over the years, and I think she has just, wow, she's hit her stride with The Cruel Prince. And if it's at all possible, she's gotten even better with The Wicked King. I wasn't sure it was possible because The Cruel Prince is one of my favorite books, and this has become my favorite series because it's just beautiful. Beautifully written.
I know that when you mentioned to me that you read this, and I just kind of, when The Wicked King came out, I just heard so much buzz online about it. And I hadn't read The Cruel Prince at that point, and I'm just starting to read it, so no spoilers today. We'll be sure anything that we talk about today, we're going to try not to give too much away so you can still enjoy the book. But I know that Holly Black, I had read her Curse Workers series a while back and just loved it. So as soon as I saw this and it got a great review from you, of course, I made sure I ran through and picked it up as quickly as possible. So the premise, do you want to talk about the premise a little bit, Casey?
The premise basically is about it's about a human girl who is taken into a fairyland that is in a sort of a very abrupt and jarring way, and she's put into this entire new world that she just does not fit into, full of magical creatures and beings that are a lot more powerful than her. And so she feels very powerless. But throughout the book, you can see her start to change. You can see her start to learn the rules and learn the games that her classmates especially play on her. They're very cruel, especially one particular character who I love to hate.
Yeah.
But you know, it's typical bully, but on a whole different scale because he's got these powers that she just doesn't have. But I love her because she becomes a master at the games that the fairies play, in my opinion. I love the scheming and all the plotting that she does to elevate herself to their level, even though she's not one of them.
Now, one of the cool things I thought about was that it starts out set on 3 siblings, and she, of course, is one of the 3 siblings. But the whole reason that they get taken to this world is because one of the siblings has fairy blood. And starting out, I thought it was going to be about that sibling. It just made sense. But it's so interesting how they took off with it being about one of the human siblings and their struggle to make it in. And another interesting thing I found about this is that all the fairy lore, like I feel like I've read books about fairies before, and there's different things about the lore, but this packs so much of that lore into the same book.
And it packs a punch. It's beautifully written. Her words are so precise, and her descriptions are beautiful but succinct. And I just feel like she takes you into that world, and it's a world you don't want to leave. Like it's one of those books, and both of these books are reads that you don't want to put down. Like you could see yourself reading at 3 a.m. because you just don't want to. You've got to find out what happens.
This is book 2. We'll probably pop it over there here in a second so you can see it close up. But book 2 just recently came out, The Wicked King. Even better, Casey?
Yeah, even better. I had so much fun reading this book because, like I said, her prose is beautiful. The way she describes things, and it's action packed and it's fun. But she takes it to a whole new level with the trickery and the scheming again. And the thing I love about both books is that, you know, with a lot of novels, you can kind of see where they're going and where the author's going to take you.
You have
no idea what Holly Black is going to do. And she continues to surprise me. And I think that every time I pick up one of her books now, I'm excited because I know she's going to take this twist that I'm not expecting, and I love to be surprised because I hate knowing, as you're reading kind of
Right.
what's going to happen. I love to be surprised, and I love to be shocked. And at the end of The Wicked King, this was my face.
I think there.
It was like,
yeah.
what just happened? And I wasn't sure if I wanted to just throw the book or hug it. I just wasn't sure what to do with it because it was great. It was so
Hug
wonderful.
It or throw it.
Yeah.
That's very different
Yeah.
emotions. Yes,
Yes, it was.
Okay, so, but that's The Cruel Prince and The Wicked King, both by Holly Black, and both are available now.
Yes.
Do you want to go next, or do you want me to?
You can take one if you want.
Okay, well, I think we've got a graphic for this one. It's called Small Kingdoms by Charlaine Harris. Now this one, I believe it's technically an adult, but it does have young adults in the premise. This one is actually a series of short stories based on Principal Anne DeWitt. Now the cool thing about Principal Anne DeWitt is that is her in witness protection. She is really someone who has spent the last several years teaching assassins at a training camp for a secret government agency that's kind of unnamed. And some bad things went down at the school, and so they put her in witness protection, and she's now principal of this high school in North Carolina. So these are really cool short stories put together. I happened upon this on Audible because audiobook is available now. But I come to find out that the print versions don't come out till May 28th. So if you're a Charlaine Harris fan and you want this book quicker, take a look at getting it in audiobook form because that is available right now.
And I love Charlaine because she's one that's fun and she puts a unique spin on everything.
This is crazy. You think about the prim and proper principal of a high school, and she's in the halls telling kids to behave. And then on her lunch break, she's going home and hiding a body of somebody that came to try to murder her. So very sharp contrast there, and just love it's that wacky fun that we know Charlaine Harris for from the True Blood series. And
Midnight Texas. I mean, there's a reason that her series are made into film and into TV series because they're so entertaining.
Absolutely.
They pack a punch.
So, Casey, what have you been reading?
I've been reading a lot of things. One series that I sort of inhaled this last month is the Frostblood series by Ellie Blake. Here you can see the first book, Frostblood. It's amazing. The second book is Fireblood, and the third book is Nightblood. And it's a typical young adult series. I mean, it's got two factions that are in opposition to one another. People who can use the power that is within frost and people who can use the power that is within fire. And so you have a girl who with fire power trying to hide her abilities in a world of frost and ice.
Oh.
And she sort of gets caught and then gets into trouble.
But
it's really unique. I love the magic. I love the realism. The fact that she's flawed, she's not very good at using her power at all. And I love her character arc because she goes from this kind of meek girl who's trying to hide everything to just owning it. And I love that. I love it when a character...
The strong female lead that you're so good at writing about. Now, these three books, is there a fourth?
No, this
coming?
is it. This is a complete series. And there is like a few tropes that you might like. I love tropes in young adult fiction, but there's, sort of an enemies to lovers, sort of like forbidden romance between factions of ice and fire. And I don't know, it's just a coming of age story that's just great. I love it.
So that's Ellie Blake,
Yep.
Frostblood, Fireblood, and I'm going to have to take this
Nightblood.
Make sure you take a look at those series as well.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that I've read recently was a good book. Not quite yet, Casey. I'm not getting to yours
No.
yet. but
I see what you got.
Next one is by an author that is actually a friend of ours by the
Yes.
name of Stacy Rourke. And it's called Wake the Dead. And the thing that gets Casey giddy about Wake the Dead is that it's because it's about necromancer Octavia Hollows. And Octavia has this power where she can bring back the dead, but it's much more so in this world than the traditional necromancer, because when she brings them back, she brings them wholly back. They're not a zombie or a reanimated corpse. So it's a very cool take on that she brings them completely back. The only catch is that when she brings them back, if they died in a moment of panic or great emotion, they bring that with them. And so if it's something that was just a terrible tragedy, they have all this rage behind them, they come back extra rageful. And so she had an incident in her past at her high school, and kind of pushed her out of town, and she had a love of her life passed away, and now she's kind of on this mission to go from town to town looking for clues behind the mystery of his death. So really cool story. This Wake the Dead is based in Seattle. She's kind of got a new mystery. A couple contact her and talk to her about bringing a nurse back to life that passed away kind of mysteriously while the nurse was tending to one of the couple's sons. And both of the sons, I won't spoil anything, but something strange happened to them, and nobody knows how it happened or what happened, except for the nurse who passed away suddenly during the incident. So they bring Octavia in and ask her to bring this nurse back to life. Of course, there is lots of ensuing adventures after that, lots of paranormal influences in this, of course. And just a great fun read, witty lines. Oh my gosh, I think we talked about it. Oh,
she's the queen of witty lines and sarcasm.
Oh, yeah.
I love
and
her.
This is a very sarcastic character. But Wake the Dead, and I think we do have a graphic that cover. That's actually the prequel cover, How the Dead Lie. Wake the Dead is out now, but this How the Dead Lie, that was a prequel. That's part of the Havenwood Falls universe, for lack of better words. If you're not familiar with Havenwood Falls, it's kind of a universe where different authors write different books towards the same kind of location.
They're set in the same
and
town,
setting. Yeah, kind of a paranormal, kind of a cool thing, because you get to see different authors write in that same universe. But How the Dead Lie, that's the prequel. You get to see how she met Bacon, her undead pig.
I love that.
So kind of a fun aspect of the series. This little pet that she has, a tiny little pig that she calls Bacon, but she actually brought him back from the dead in a butcher shop, of all things. So he's forever the comedy relief in the series, I think. Kind of got a mind of his own.
Yeah.
But great read, Wake the Dead. I'm really looking forward to everything that Stacy's doing with that series.
Yeah, and if you happen to be on your Kindle and you're one-clicking while you're on Stacy's page, make sure you check out Veiled and Vlad. Oh, yes. My vampire goodness. They're amazing books, and I highly recommend both of them, and can't wait until the series continues. So
good, great,
if you like vampires, check that series out.
Absolutely. Anything else you've read lately, Casey?
That's about it for me.
Okay. Well, I had another really, really good book that I read. It was called High Stakes. You heard of it, Casey?
Yeah, I've heard of it
Maybe
from
a little
somewhere.
bit. So High Stakes is actually the first book in Casey's new series, the High Stakes Saga. And such an interesting premise, Casey. And so different. It's kind of like a Terminator thing with vampires, and the Terminator's a woman that's really a strong female, the strong female lead. You've got it nailed. Just love watching even action. So for our viewers, kind of the premise of High Stakes is that it's kind of this dystopian future. And the 3 vampires have pretty much taken over the world. And so there is, of course, a band of humans that are rebelling. And part of their plan is that they have developed an assets program. They've selected 3 humans for the assets program. And each of them were very carefully chosen. And sorry, let me know if I'm getting into spoiler territory.
Go for it.
Each of them are very carefully chosen so that they can assassin one of the 3 vampire heads. They're augmented in their bodies, given a little bit of superpower boost. And the plan is they've built a time machine, this band of humans in the future, and they're going to send these 3 back to when the vampires were most vulnerable so that they can assassinate them before they really come into power. Thing is, they kind of drop unceremoniously, very harshly, into the past. And when they go there, they find out they're much, much, much farther in the past than they thought they would be.
Yeah, they're in trouble.
So there's some suspicion around, was that on purpose or not? Casey's not telling, whatever the case may be. But that's high stakes, really cool, strong female lead, tons of unanswered questions, but it is just action-packed. I read this in like one sitting.
Yay.
I could not put it down. Just a great book. High Seas, the second book in the series, is coming out this month, right,
Yeah,
Casey?
the 15th. Yeah.
15th. So make sure you take a look at that too. It's Casey Bond, High Stakes.
Yay. Thank you for reading it.
Oh, my pleasure. So, like High Seas, I want to pick that up. There's a lot of other things that I'm looking at picking up too this month. What's on your list?
Definitely at the top of the list, and I think we're both going to be reading it, Trinity Row by Kelly Martin.
Oh, super creepy. I think we do have a cover for that.
And it's an amazing cover.
Yeah,
It is an amazing cover.
Creepy? No? I'm sorry about that, Kelly Martin.
We'll get it on here next. I've got the hardback is on the way.
We actually are both reading this book. We plan to talk about it next month, so we'll actually have it here so you can see the cover. Kelly does a great job at creepy. Oh my goodness.
Young adult horror is her jam. Like if you like ghost stories or demons or things that go bump in the night, Kelly Martin is the author for you.
She has a series called Dark and Deadly Things. And I was reading one of the Dark and Deadly Things books in bed at home by myself, and I told her I had to put it down. I couldn't read anymore because it was giving me the creeps so bad.
And Heartless, her Heartless series is amazing. I can't say enough good things about her. She's awesome.
So Trinity Row by Kelly Martin, that's one we definitely want to pick up. I'm looking forward to Wolf Creek River by Rachel Kane, and that's part of her Stillhouse Lake series. Really cool series. I've read the first 2 books in that series about a woman who just kind of typical suburban mom, but one day she comes home, her car has wrecked into her garage, and they found dead bodies in the garage. She finds out very quickly that her husband has been a serial murderer, leading this double life. And so she's then kind of on the run, not only from her husband, who has been arrested and put in jail, but still has ways of getting at her. She's not only on the run from him with her children, but she's also on the run from this whole kind of subculture of internet trolls that think that she was behind it too and want to bring her to justice. So just very interesting reads. We're hoping she finds a safety, but I doubt she will.
Well, and talking about Rachel Kane, somebody suggested that, because I like vampires and I like all sorts of creepy things, but the Morganville Vampire series.
Yes.
So I ordered the first book. It's called Glass Houses.
Nice.
And so it's on the way. I'm going to be reading that this month. Look forward to it. I like all sorts of paranormal beings, so fallen angels or demons or whatever. I like to read about everything. Also going to try to read 5 Feet Apart. You might have heard about it. It's being turned into a major motion picture, and it's by Rachel Lippen. I hope I'm saying this right, Rachel. It's Lippincott. But it seems really neat. It seems like from what I can glean, the 2 characters, main characters, a guy and a girl, have a lung condition and can't get within 5 feet of other people. Actually, it's supposed to be 6 feet, but they keep inching closer together because,
Right.
romance.
And
So
I think I've
looking
seen
forward to
those
that.
trailers for the movie.
Yeah, it looks
already.
really great.
It'll be out pretty soon. Yes.
Yeah, and then I may also pick up After by Anna Todd. It's more of a contemporary romance.
Okay.
And they're also making it into a movie. I think it comes out in April or May. I can't remember. But I'm looking forward to seeing both of those because I think that anytime a book is made into film, I like to try to support it. I think that's amazing. I really think Hollywood should look at more books instead of remaking what we've already seen.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Like, don't touch Dirty Dancing again, people.
Remaking everything these days.
Yeah.
It's great source for new content, not only traditional but indie published.
Yeah,
like you and I
definitely.
are. Yeah, absolutely. Now, what are you working on, Casey? I know you got High Seas coming out this month.
High Seas is coming out this month. High Society is book 3. It is actually finished and at the editor. It is going to come out in April, and then I've already written
that
part of
quick.
High Noon. Yeah, I'm like slamming through these books, and I'm so excited because it's just flowing so well. I love these characters. It's fun to write, so looking forward to that, and just finishing out the series with High Treason.
Well, and I know High Stakes, the way High Stakes ended, you talk about the other authors taking these twists that you don't see coming. Yeah, the final twist in High Stakes I did not see coming.
Oh, good.
And so, yeah, I'm excited to see where that series goes.
Yeah, I love it. I love it when authors say, like, they basically say, like, what's the worst thing that could happen to this character, and then they do that thing.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I like that.
She kills them off. No, not so far. Maybe. I don't know. Now I'm starting to wonder. There was a maybe death at the end of High Stakes, so maybe I'll get her to say something off camera. We'll see. Anyway, that sounds really cool. Anything else you're working on?
I'm kind of, I'm always like 3 steps ahead. It seems like I've got things ruminating while I'm writing one series. I'm thinking about the next. And this, like, late summer and fall, I'm going to be launching a brand new series I'm really excited about.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
More details later.
Okay.
What are you working on? I know you have an amazing cover.
I do.
I just saw.
I have the second book in the Mothman Mysteries. Wrong Side of the Storm is coming out on April 8th. And so that's kind of out there for pre-order now. Working on the third book, have it out later this year, and it'll be Wrong Side of the Song.
Oh, I love it. And the first one is Wrong Side of the Grave.
Right. Wrong Side of the Grave. So Wrong Side of the Grave, it's all based on kind of the Mothman of Point Pleasant. But my version, he's an alien, and he's an alien that eats vampires because they're aliens too.
I love it.
So I was like, I was kind of anti-Twilight, I guess, when I started the series. Maybe I wanted him to eat vampires.
I love
kill
it.
me, but
I love it.
But yeah, first when the dead came back to life, and they kind of solved the mystery. He has a book blogging best friend by the name of Bridget North, and they kind of get into trouble together. So I've gotten a lot of feedback on the tagline that we've been using for Wrong Side of the Grave or Wrong Side of the Storm. Where will you be when all hell breaks loose?
I love it.
So I've been getting some feedback on that. But with Wrong Side of the Storm, it's very much Mothman versus the Weather Machine.
Nice.
So it's a real campy fun. I got a note here from our producers wants me to talk a little bit about Mothman. The Mothman is a legend, Point Pleasant, West Virginia. He was sighted for about a year in the 60s, I believe 60s, I'm sorry if I got that wrong. But he's just kind of this winged monster. And so legend kind of spurred from that. When I really delved into that, I found some accounts of a strange man in a black suit showing up in Point Pleasant and asking questions after. So my book kind of takes that line in that there's a Men in Black facility in Point Pleasant, and he has his own Men in Black handler.
I love
that. My alien Mothman, he actually has a piece of alien tech in the form of a tattoo on his arm that lets him shape shift, and he usually takes a form, kind of a disguise as a human teenager, because even though he's centuries old, he has no desire to grow up whatsoever. So he will play in the garage band as long as they'll let him play, and he has visions that he's this rock superstar, even though he's playing in a garage band and in coffee shops in little small town Point Pleasant.
There you go. You got to do what you love.
He's a fun guy to write, super cocky. Bridget North, fun girl to write, kind of his sidekick. She holds her own when it comes to him. She's the organizer and the plotter and the planner. So really been a fun series to write. Wrong Side of the Song, we delve into siren territory.
Ooh.
So really cool kind of for the next. And you get to see, he uses slang for a curse word a lot in the books, and he uses slucks, or he'll call somebody a slug sniffer. Well, in Wrong Side of the Song, you're actually going to get to meet a slug sniffer and see what it is.
Oh, nice.
So, by the name. you know it's pretty nasty thing. So, and the wrong side of the song features kind of sirens, that old Greek mythology of the enchantress on the rocks of the sea.
So
So
it uses her voice to
yeah.
entrance the sailors. And
Yes.
lure them.
So it'll be a good one. I'm excited
That
about
is
it.
awesome.
So there's been much news. We have a few minutes, but very briefly, there's been much news in the past weeks about plagiarism in the
Yes.
industry.
Yes.
And I know we've been talking about what's truth and what's not truth because so much has been coming
Right.
out. But basically, it sounds like some authors, I'll put quotation marks around, some folks are going out stealing sections from books.
Well-known authors' books, like
Yes.
very, very prolific authors' books.
Yeah, and then they take these sections and they hire a ghostwriter on a service like Fiverr, and that ghostwriter, they just say, these are my notes. They don't tell them, of course, what it is. These are my notes. Can you help me fashion it together in a book? And of course, Fiverr is a site for cheap labor and to do things like that, little menial jobs. And so they've been doing this, and then those ghostwriters are being used as scapegoats. We're not real sure at this point if some of them know a little bit more than they let on, but then they're throwing these books up, dozens at a time, up on Amazon. So be wary of the things that you read. Take a look at the authors. Make sure that take a look and make sure they're actually selling their own work, please.
Yes, and stealing is wrong.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter if you're, taking somebody else's hard work or if you're putting, like, in our industry, pirating is a big issue
Yes.
as well. You don't take somebody else's work and try to make a buck off of it. It's just wrong. So
On the recent plagiarism, if you want to learn more, go to Nora Roberts' blog. Nora
Yeah.
has been deep in an investigation of this because she was one of the authors that have been plagiarized.
yeah, and she's amazing, and she's handled this with a lot of tact, and just one more reason to love Nora Roberts.
Okay, so this was On the Same Page with Bryna Butler, and
Casey Bond.
we'll see you next month. Thank you.
Thanks.